Everybody, Matthew, aka EZBOT here, Elektron Talk episode 34. Pretty exciting stuff. And we've got an agenda. We always have an agenda, but today I have something a little bit more special because we're doing, there's a template, a new template release today. One that everybody's been asking me for a lot. So, spent a couple hours and I finished it. And now I'm going to present it to you. I'm going to show you what's different about it and why it's different from some of the other ones that I've released. And if you're on my Patreon, it'll be on the Patreon. Well, let me get to that part in just a little bit. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Today's stream is brought to you by DistroKid. Thank you, DistroKid, for sponsoring these streams. We love you so much. We're going to talk about that a little bit more later. We're also going to talk about a music compilation and how we're using DistroKid with a music compilation in my Discord. And we're going to continue to have a bunch of releases via DistroKid and how it's making my life easier in terms of running compilations. So that'll be pretty cool. A lot of you know that I make these Octatrack performance templates. What do they do? I'm gonna tell you how these performance templates work and why they're unique, and then why this one is unique and why everybody wanted this template, and why I ended up finishing it for folks. So without further ado, let's get this sucker going. Classic. I'm not done with my coconut, and I have a whole nother case of coconut LaCroix coming. I don't have anywhere to put it, so we got the Push 3 over here. As you can see, there's a Push 3 sitting on my desk. Wow. We're just gonna be risque. We're gonna risk it all. We're gonna talk about the Push 3 as well during this stream. But before we get into the Push 3, we're gonna go through a bit of the agenda with the performance template. Then we're going to use the performance template and the Push 3 and sample some sounds from the wonderful Push 3 into the Octatrack. Perhaps. That's kind of what I was thinking. But let's flip over here. All right, here we go. Here's our wonderful Elektron setup that I so much love to use, or love to use so much. Pretty sure that's what I meant to say. Hi everybody, welcome to the stream. Anybody who's new here, my name's EZBOT. My name's Matt, but I go by EZBOT, and I'm a hardware electronic music musician. And that just means that I prefer to use a conglomerate of hardware devices synced to each other, and I take them and I go and play shows with them and write music with them and teach other people how to use them. And that's what fascinates me, and that's what I love doing, and that's what this YouTube channel is all about. So if you're into that, you're in a cool spot. All right, so the Octatrack template. All right, this template is called Ultimate Octatrack Template 2FF. And what that 2FF means, especially if you're on my Patreon, because it's going to be available to you today. It's already available in the Discord files section. As far as buying this template, that'll be something that you're going to be able to get on Ko-fi sometime this week. I need to be on my Patreon for a little bit because Patreon's very forgiving. People can always just keep downloading the update if there's any bugs. So there could be bugs in it. I don't think there is, but it'll probably get another update from me sooner than later. Anyhow. So, not too long ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I released the Ultimate Octatrack Effects template. This template is essentially the Ultimate Octatrack Effects template. 64 effects. In that template, you have resampling and some effects that are built off of the concept of resampling. So it brings audio in, and then it loops that audio, and then it does some cool, fun stuff all synced to your current project. This template forgoes the loopers. So there's no recording audio with the idea of that you're going to loop that audio, have the audience listen to a recorded loop, transition to that recorded loop, and then do some other stuff under the hood, so to speak, on your other boxes. That's not what this template is for. This template is just for effects and sample playback. So what's new about it is that I added 8 effects that aren't available in my previous template. There are new effects just in this template. they go well with the other effects in the template. And I left 2 free scenes in the template. Oh, I actually did get LaCroix on my Octatrack. I left 2 free scenes on every part in the Octatrack for you to create a scene for your incoming audio. Okay, you follow so far? So let me just tell you how the template works in general in case you're brand new to this concept. The way that I've formulated these templates is that I've separated the drum side and the melody side. So you can have a plethora of devices, tons of them, chain them together, run them into a mixer on this side, and vice versa on this side. And what we do is we process the drums separately from the melody side so that we can have effects that make sense in that regard. Having effects that just completely affect your entire mix are not always the most tasteful effects. Some of them are really great. Don't get me wrong. There's lots of great entire mix effects. There's plenty of entire mix effects in this template. But what makes it unique by splitting those 2 elements is that you can do things that make more sense on a drum bus. There's also a compressor on the input on both of these tracks so that you can adjust them for your buses separately. And you just program them by holding down the step on the track and adjusting your compressor here. And it will program that into the pattern so you can do it on a per pattern basis. This is all stuff that I went into deep detail in the Ultimate Octatrack Effects template video that's already released. So if you want to know more about all that stuff and how all of these effects sound and work, that's going to be the video you want to watch. This stream in particular is about the sample playback concept and how you have things that you have to do to make it function. Hopefully everybody follows all right. All right, so I'm gonna have a little bit of music going. I'm gonna show off some of the new effects that are in it, and then we're gonna talk about how you load samples and how you route the audio so that you can use sample tracks and process them through the effects tracks, because it can be a little heady to wrap your brain around it. Makes sense? Right on, Jordan. All right, here we go. All right, we got some techno going on here. Let's bring the tempo up. This is a song that we made last week live on stream. We're not doing that this week, sadly. We're not making music from scratch like we usually do because we're doing this. So before, you could hit yes, and it would arm a recording to record both the inputs separately, but play them back at the same time. So you could do these cool tricks with live recordings. That's not the case here. So these are just some of the effects. These are all the same effects that are in the other template. So here's a new effect, I believe. Let me pull the list up so I can see it. Put it over here. Okay, so the new effects in this template start with scene 13. It's kind of like the acid delay scene. This is one that you would do very slowly. I call it deep delay. The next effect is called reverb transition. There's 2 of these new transitions in here. So this will drone out. You could change sounds on here because it's being looped in with the freeze delays with some reverb on it, and it's just meant to just be this thing where like the song kind of ended, but it hasn't truly ended. And you can do all sorts of stuff. We could add some new elements in here. We could take some elements out. Take the chord out here. All right, brought a new sound in. Right? It's cool. That's how this effect works. It's like the car just ran right off the side of the road. And now let's take those sounds out. There you go. Bam. All right, that's how that effect works. So that is deep delay, and the last one is reverb transition. Now we can go to part 2, where we have 2 new effects. We have reverb transition 2. So quite similar to the last one. It's another effect where we could bring some elements in and out. So I brought a bunch of hats back in. You can hear the automation. It's doing some filtering. It's clocked over 4 bars. The next effect is called gallop delay. You can hear why. Super stupid, I know. Another transitional effect. It's a fun effect though. All right, moving on to part 3. We're not going over all these effects because there's so many, and I only added 8 new effects to this template because the rest of this is going to be a little bit more difficult to explain. So here we go on part 3. We have Crunchy Drummer. This is an effect from my old template that I brought back. So you can use this one slowly. That one quite a bit. And this next one is called Boomerang Riser. So I'm gonna wait till it gets to the 1 so that we can do this effectively. Here we go. Bring those hats back. The Boomerang Riser. I think it sounds great. All right, here we go. Now to part 4. So part 4 had a lot of sample buffer effects. So I had to add even more effects on part 4. So there's actually 10 more effects, but 2 of them are pretty basic. And I'll show them to you first. So what I did is I have 2 scenes that are going to filter just the drum input. So this first one is just a high pass of the left side. So the synth side keeps playing. This is why you separate these 2 elements. I'm able to high pass the drums and still keep this not high passed. And this next one is a smile pass, which is so it's like a dip in the spectrum. So a peak, a frequency emphasis at the low end, and a frequency emphasis at the high end, with a dip in the center. It's a very nice sound too. But it's just a filter, and it's only on this side, so that you can play with your melody side. All right. Now the 2 new effects, I wouldn't really consider those ones effects so much, they're just filters. We have the Runway Looper. hear this bit reduction. Makes the drums really pop. Also depends on how you have your compressor set up. All right, and the last one is Easy Drummer 3. So another Easy Drummer. Here it comes. Those are the new effects in the Octatrack template. This template you can find on my Patreon. It's just a part of the Ultimate Effects template. So it'll be in the download link on my Patreon. Very easy to grab it. I'll put it right there. Maybe I'll make another post about it because there is some stuff to talk about. But let me tell you how this is going to function. How do we use sample tracks with these through machines? This is all being processed through a through machine, into a neighbor track, into a neighbor track, a through machine, into a neighbor track, into a neighbor track. Everything about that is very deliberate. We have a compressor into a freeze delay, into a filter, into a classic delay, into a just whatever effect you'd want in serial there. So a chorus, a flanger, a lo-fi, whatever, into a reverb. And typically that would have been a looper. And it's the same on this side, same idea. So 2 different buses, then they have 6 stereo serial effects. Now that this is different and these loopers aren't a recording, we have to process them. You may see right here, hold on a second. You might see that these are blinking. These tracks are kind of blinking. I don't know if you can see that on stream here, but they're blinking, and that's because they're queued. So to use this template, you have to know a few things that you maybe don't know about your Octatrack quite yet, if you're new to your Octatrack. And yeah, which means we have to dive into the personalized settings. So you have to hold Q and you select track 4 and track 8. What's going to happen from this is that these 2 tracks, these sample tracks, are now going to be routed to your Q output. Now, they're going to be routed to your Q output and your main output unless you do one of 2 things. You have 2 options here, and I'm going to show you what they are. So let's zoom in real quick. Make sure we're in focus. That looks like it's in focus. I need those perfectly parallel lines or I'll lose my mind. Okay, so one of the things you'll have to do is either select a setting called Q mutes track. What happens when you select the setting Q mutes track is that if you cue a track, it's going to mute the track. So it's not going to send that audio through its main outs any longer. It's going to go just out the Q output. So what we're going to do is have this. This is the way I recommend you do it. Is just select Q mutes track. It makes it the easiest. And to do it is you go into Control, you go into System, Personalize, and there it is, Q mutes track, and just hit yes right there, and bam. That's all you got to do. Q mutes track and cue these 2 tracks. And then from this point on, you can sample onto these tracks in your sample menu, like set it up however you want. Right now it's set up to sample the incoming audio. So if you wanted, you could make, do whatever you want, because typically all your inputs are being taken. So you're going to want to sample through these inputs regardless. So you're probably going to sample through your Digitact, sample through your Digatone, or through your Syntact into your Octatrack. This one's set up to sample through this input, so through C and D, and this one's set up to sample through A and B. It's very simple, just classic Octatrack sampling. If you know how to sample in the Octatrack, it's not going to be a problem for you. You're just going to do some sampling. And then that's it. You'll have playback of those samples. But to have them be processed through the effects in the template, you actually have to take this outgoing audio and route it back in through one of these machines. This is something that Serco, or Eric, realized before me. Sadly, I wish I was the one who had realized it first, but he did think of it first. And take your Q outs and run them into one of your machines. So if we wanted to process this, process all of these effects, I would recommend that you take it through the Q outs and you run it into your Digitact. I think the effects on the drum side are more effective. Well, actually, it really is going to be up to you, because if you want to have these sample tracks being melodies, then you are actually going to want to run them into whatever's going into this side. So into your Digatone or Syntactic if you were using my setup. Just whatever's going in here. You may need to get a submixer so that you can do this. Or, I mean, yeah, you're going to need to get something's going to have to represent a submixer for you. And that's really all you have to do. Now, the other way of getting audio through your Q outs without doing the Q mutes track, I'm going to show you really quick just because it's just cool to know this stuff. So we'll leave it queued. We'll leave it set up like that. Is you can go into your system settings and go to control and go into audio. And what you do is you set your Q config to studio. When your Q config is set to studio, when you hold Q on a track, you can adjust the level of the Q output. So what you would do is you would take track 4, you turn the Q output to 127, and track 8, make sure the Q is at 127, and then you turn their track level all the way down. And this is the same as Q mutes track. The problem is that all of these tracks by default are going out that Q output. So what you'll have to do is go in, hold Q, and turn the Q off on every single track. That's why the Q mutes track is just a faster method than this. So I'm actually going to go back to the way I had it before because it's just a lot more effective and a lot easier. And that covers it. You just load your samples into your project. These settings are set up across all banks and all patterns. It's ready to go. As you can see, the template works perfectly. We could load a sample into it just to make sure. Let me save it as a save to new. Yeah, we'll just call it funky. Funky, funky, funky. So this is a great way to start a project if you have a bunch of external gear, but you also want to have some stereo sampling. Like for instance, if you're sampling this amazing MPE Groovebox synthesizer, Ableton in a box, sounds so good. And if you want those stereo sounds, this is a great way to get stereo back into your mix. If you've been using my setup, stereo samples isn't a thing. In my setup, I don't have that. I don't use stereo samples in any of my songs. But I can if I use this template. Okay. Oops. I want to adjust my mains. Let's go ahead and bring those back up. Okay. So what I can do now is we've got this techno track playing. I could go into my samples folder. Just find something simple. Oh yeah, they're going out the Q output right now. Okay, we'll take this sound. I've now replaced the recording buffer with this sound. And there's a playback trigger. I left a playback trigger in the it doesn't matter, but there's a playback trigger on these tracks, on every bank and every pattern, so just be aware of that. And then when I update it, I'll probably remove that playback trigger. I thought I did remove it, I don't know how it got back there. Okay, so I do need to route this audio, which is also looping, and I don't want that, back into my Digitact. Where is it coming from now? Oh yeah, we can do it this way. Yeah, we can do it like this. Could actually take the headphone out. There's another way that you can do like send effects and stuff is using the headphone out. So I just plugged a stereo cable into the headphone out, and that's already running into my Digitact. And I'm just going to make sure that my Digatact's input mixer is turned up. I'll put it at 100. And I'm going to go into my mix settings and make sure my headphones is receiving the Q output specifically. So now I'm running these out into the Digitact. Oh, there we go. There it is. This sound is now being processed by my effects. So we now have sample playback that is going through the performance template. So now I could write music on my Octatrack with my template, which is fun. Let's just, for instance, we'll put some stupid stuff down. make this not so long. I know that this pattern sucks, but it doesn't matter. It's showing you that you can now load any sample you want and or sample into your Octatrack and also process it through the Octatrack Performance template, which I think is great because I have a lot of awesome effects in here and the way it's designed is very usable. And so many people, I'm looking at you, my Patreon, because you wanted this template so badly. I got you. So here it is. And that's how it works. You don't have to use the Q outputs. You can use the headphone out like I just did. If you use the headphone output, you can actually dial in how loud these tracks are with your headphone jack, which is also kind of weird. So maybe you don't want to do that, but it totally works. So why not? Yeah. All right, now I'm going to say hi to the chat. What's going on? All of them except 2FF is BFF. Yeah. Yes. Be careful, boss. Don't spill it anymore. Yeah, it's true. The yeehaw delay. Thank you is exactly the thing I've been looking for. The performance mixer effects and sample playback. Well, you got it. I do have another idea that I was thinking about doing with the template, which would be kind of a revision of this current template. It would take me a really long time to build it again, so I wouldn't expect it to happen anytime soon if it's something that people want. But it would be one playback, one sample playback, and one recorder playback. So you could still do sample playback as well as also do looper so that you could keep all the effects. And you'd have to do the same thing. You'd have to hold Q and cue the tracks, and the performance template would listen to the Q output, not the physical output, but it would listen to the Q output and process the recordings that way. But yeah, that is it, guys and everyone. It has been done. We did it. How's your day, Mang? What's up, Jazz? It's going pretty good. John makes beats. What's up? What were you asking, John? Q mutes out is more for send return. Okay, let's talk about this really quick because John's asking this question. This is a really good topic. So Q mutes track is good for doing insert effects. So if you say you have, like, we got Mood Mark II over here, and what we would do is we would turn the mix of the Mood Mark II up. Forgive me for those of you who, everybody already knows this, but for people who don't know this, when you're doing an insert effect and you're doing the mix of the effect on the Octatrack, you turn the effect up all the way. So with Q mutes track, it would go out the Q output into this and come back in through one of the inputs, whether it's a submix into that input or directly into the input. You turn the mix all the way up here, and, or no, I'm sorry. It's quite the opposite. I'm thinking of the other version. So this would be the Q mutes track is the send effects version where you actually control the mix on the hardware here. In the send return version, which is what you're talking about, John, that's where you set up the standard, the studio version. And then you turn the mix all the way up on your external device, and then you dial in how much mix with the Q output. But then you also have to adjust how much of the dry audio is too. So you have to play this balancing game of holding Q and dialing in how much goes out and also turning your track volume down to compensate for the volume increase because you're getting parallel audio of the same audio. Sorry to confuse people for 1 second there. I had it backwards for a moment. There's just so many options with all of the effects stuff. especially with send returns and all that. I didn't realize you were live. Much thanks for all the tutorials. I've been doing a deep dive on mine, and your videos have helped a ton. Right on, dude. Happy to help. This is what I do. Wow, LaCroix is good. If only they would sponsor me. If only they would sponsor me. I have very little faith in them to sponsor me. I've only owned it for almost a decade, but I finally get it. I feel ya. More of a fan of Aha. Is that another sparkling water? Treacherous. Coconut is the best. Yeah, coconut, and then the orange cream, kind of creamsicle flavored one. That one's really good too. No, it's limoncello, but it tastes like a creamsicle. All right, let's switch back over to listen to the Push 3 really quick, shall we? Let's take this back out of my Octatrack and plug it into the Push 3's headphone out. And I guess I'll let y'all see the Push 3, huh? You probably want to. Let's move the camera. Make sure we don't unplug anything in the process. What's going on? Why are you being like that? All right, there it is. Hey, look at that dirty. That's not dirt on that microphone. That is rust. This is an old weird mic. I don't even remember where I got it, but I had it. Very nasty. What's up, Thomas? And I do have it turned on. So let me talk to you about this for a second. Let me talk to you about the Push 3. And well, I'll get a pretty instrument going really quick. Oh. Let's see. Instruments. Do I have the... Oh, yeah. It wouldn't be... Sounds... MPE. Actually, I'll show you one of my favorite sounds. One of my favorite sounds that's in here. It's under packs. It is this. I know everybody hates. Okay. This brass quartet does a really great job of showing off the MPE that you can do here. And then it makes no sound at all. Oh, wait. Oh. I don't even know what to say. Do we have this going out the main outs? Hang on. Properties, 9 and 10. We shouldn't even have to... All right. Before I spend time digging on the Push 3, this is not something I want to do, to be honest. The Push 3 is not ready. This device is not, in my opinion, ready to be out for people. Like, I wouldn't recommend buying the Push 3 right now. I do think it will be something that everybody is going to want and love, but it's not today. I have not managed to work in a project on the Push 3 without it crashing even once yet. And I'm not flaming Ableton here. I have nothing bad to say about Ableton. I love Ableton. And I love the Push, and I think this is an amazing instrument. But it's not ready yet. I haven't seen an update from them yet since I got it. And it's kind of a bummer, to be honest. So it's pretty expensive, and it doesn't work yet. And right now you heard the demo of those sounds, but they're already not working. Maybe if I try adding another MIDI track, maybe we'll have better luck. Here we go. I have it running into my Digitact. But actually don't need to because we have a separate audio track. So I gotta tell you, it is the most amazing sounding piece of hardware that I own. Despite it not being ready, despite it missing a lot of essential features, the Push 3 is the most beautiful synthesizer I have. The most beautiful sampler I have. The amount of sound design I can do on here, it is truly Ableton in a hardware version. For somebody who's a hardware user, I may have mentioned this on stream before, I have pretty gnarly neuropathy in my hands. It gets very uncomfortable for me to spend too much time clicking with the mouse and using the keyboard. It becomes quite painful for me rather quickly, which is why I turned to hardware, partly. So this is a great device for somebody like me who prefers working on hardware because it's so uncomfortable to be on the computer. Now, that being said, I'm still contemplating returning it because the price is so high, but it does fulfill something I really wanted, which was having a beautiful, powerful hardware synthesizer with infinite polyphony, infinite effects chain. I can do whatever I want. The sounds, they're crazy. They're crazy. You can hot swap them. Cello, check this out. Like, it sounds wild. I mean, it's awesome. It's lovely. And we could, you know, we can sample it into the Octatrack. So we could go over here. I have to do some like leaning here. Crazy stuff. We can go into the Octatrack. I don't know, why is that set up that way? Let's go bank 1 pattern 1. Okay. I think it was probably better on this sound here. If I want to sample it, I can just hit int 1. And there's our sample. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I have it on Q mutes track. There we go. Turn that off. And I want to sample. I want to sample the inputs directly. Here we go. So we're going to use this. Oh, it's going into A and B. No wonder. Okay. Here we go. I still had some of my other audio routed into that, so that's why the drums started doubling up there. Let me turn that off. Yeah. So, it's cool. It's nice to have stereo samples going into the Octatrack. I really do enjoy that. You do have to, when you're sampling in this setup with the performance template, whether you're using the push 3, whether you're using whatever device that you're using, you are going to need to, you're going to want to turn the metronome on. No, you're not going to want to use the metronome. You're going to want to use the Octatrack's metronome, not the Digitech's, whatever device's metronome. You're going to want to use the Octatrack's metronome, and you're going to want to mute all of the sounds coming into the Octatrack that you have running into those inputs, because you're going to end up sampling those sounds as well, because it is going to sample those inputs, and since it's all summed here, that's what's going to happen. So that's just for the sampling side with the 2 free flex track version of the performance template. Just keep that in mind. Otherwise, everything's all good on it. But yeah, the push 3. Sounds awesome. Sounds amazing. But they need to add a lot of features to it. So what I did do also, while we're talking about it, over here we have, well, we got the microcosm. It's just sitting there. It's not even plugged in. Get this garbage out of here. We have an RME UCX hooked up. As you can see, we got 2 ADAT cables right here. So the RME is hooked up over ADAT. This microphone is running into the push 3. And I've tested it, and it took a little bit to get it working. For whatever reason, the audio coming from here, it's like track 1, it offsets it by 8 tracks. That's what I've noticed. So this is going in on track 2 on my interface, but Ableton is recognizing it as track 10, meaning, or track 9. So it's like bounced it up 8 tracks and then offset it by 1. So maybe it's 8 through 16 that it recognizes as input tracks for ADAT. I'm not really sure, but that's how it's been working for me, is that it's been offset by 8. Just interesting. I tried running it. The reason why I had this plugged in, the reason I had this rusty microphone plugged into my push 3 is because I wanted to use it with the vocoder in here. I was like, oh, this is going to be way better than my Roland VT4 vocoder. But the vocoder in here, maybe somebody could like tell me I'm wrong here, but I got the vocoder loaded up here. The way a vocoder works is it requires a carrier signal, right? So the carrier signal is usually a synthesizer, like a sawtooth wave synth, typically, because it's very bright sound. There is nowhere in the vocoder, in the carrier section, for me to select the input of another synthesizer on the push 3. So all you can do is vocode with a filter bank, which doesn't do anything. Like, that's just filters. That's not what I want. I want to want to make chords with my voice. So I haven't heard back from Ableton about it. I did reach out. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I really wanted to do that. There's no input anywhere for it. And I even had the audio routed from an audio track, or I have a synthesizer in here and I routed that audio into the track, which is something you can do here by going twice, inputs and outputs. And I routed this synthesizer into track 5, as you can see, but it's just silence because the vocoder's not accepting it as a carrier. So, yeah, that part's kind of a bummer too. There's just a lot of stuff for them to work out. Definitely have I got no hate for it, but I do feel like a bit of a beta tester for Ableton right now. And for how much it costs, I imagine that they're getting a lot of emails that aren't very friendly, which is a bummer because I was very excited about this. I still am really excited about it. I have a couple more weeks to decide whether I'm going to keep it. As far as it being an amazing synthesizer, it's definitely the best piece of hardware still in my studio, except for maybe my Prophet 5, because it just can't make that sound, but it can make so many other sounds that none of my other synthesizers can make, that I'm fascinated by it. And so I still really like it. Build quality is amazing, feels awesome. Pads feel really good. Doing drum stuff on it feels really great. Through like I'm like, look at the infinite amounts of sounds we got here. The amount of pressure it takes to engage a pad, it's not much. They feel really good. The pads feel excellent. They have MPE drum kits that also feel excellent, so it'll be like different parts of the drum gets hit depending on where you hit on the pad. This isn't an MPE drum kit, I don't think. I don't even want to look for one. It'll take 100 years. So there's no search on here. You can't even like speed across through the alphabet. So if you have a bajillion sounds and a million devices and a million effects racks and all that and a million Max devices, you're going to have to go in and color code them based on what you want. And it's going to take you a really long time because there isn't a search feature in any form on here, which is also really hard for me because you get, as you're starting to like work on a project, I run out of steam for working on that project because it takes me so long to find a sound that I want. Or I end up using the same sounds because they're the ones that are closer to the beginning of the browser. And that part is also not great. So I have a lot of critiques, but I don't like to critique stuff on. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be super critical on my stream of something that I do think is magnificent. I just want to be honest about this is my honest experience with it. It's been a hard time getting used to working on it. I feel like I got the workflow down. I love that I have an RME interface connected, so I have 8 more inputs. And I love the sound of it and all the routing options and the MPE pads. I don't like the crashes. I don't like the no browser though. And there's just a lot of features that are currently missing, and I'm hoping they come in the next week or two. There's about 3 weeks left for me to decide whether I'm going to keep it. And what's going to convince me is an update. So that's push 3. We're not going to have a push 3 stream where I try and make a track on here because for one, I don't want to. 2, I don't want it to crash in the middle of it. And 3, I'm not incredibly fast on the push 3 yet. I do feel like I learned this machine, but I'm a Bitwig user. So my go-to ideas and stuff, they exist in Bitwig. They're not here. Even though they're very similar, Bitwig and Ableton. In fact, Bitwig is an offshoot of the original developers of Ableton, I believe. That's how it happened. Some of the coders from Ableton left, started their own DAW, and that's where Bitwig came from. So it's very similar, but they're not the same, and I don't know Ableton very well. I know Bitwig quite well, but not here. Yeah, a lot to unpack. So I'm going to switch back over to stuff that I know well and love and adore, and that's this stuff. Get out of here. And there we go. All right, we're back. So that was my, those are some honest thoughts on the Push 3. And Jazz, start a new tune. I don't know if we're going to start a new tune tonight. Today's stream was more about just, I wanted to give an overview of how to use this new template. I think it's just really important that people saw the exact instructions. I do like typically writing some new music on stream, and it has only been an hour. We do have time. We could work on some music. I don't use sample tracks from the Octatrack in my music, so I'd be leaving this template. There is something I did want to look at, though. Let's put these back. What is happening here? We have on here, here, on here. Is it on a different part? No. Is it in a different bank? No. Oh, it was because I was... Okay, never mind. I thought I had programmed a bug into the template, but I didn't. All right, I'm going to load up my project and show you what I did with the minimal techno from last week turned into regular techno right before I went and played the show with Burning Hearts and Shameless. And I'm going to share it with you. I really wanted some bangers when I played, so I had to Kev Human, stick with the Launchpad Pro. I know, if I, so like, Dallas House Music, spread the word, EZBOT trashes Push 3. Don't spread that word, I would never. Sorry, I'm just catching up with your chat here. The new techno track was banging live. Thanks, Michael. Yeah, here it is. That's not it. Okay. I'll play it for you. Hey, get out of here. So we have this built-in noise riser. I changed the kick out from the minimal kick to a more classic techno kick, so the track thumps a lot harder. Actually, let's go here. So patient with techno. It's in the wrong part there. We'll skip to the end because we've heard this before. That's right, the Octatrack actually stopped all the audio there. Had something written at some point that used the 303. Someone popped in and said, "What happened to the push 3?" We're not playing on the push 3 until they update the push 3. That's the answer to that question. Push 3 will become a part of whatever music production I do at some point if they update it. But until they update it, push 3 is not a part of the workflow. I could have, it was like, I really want that Nina. I want that Nina synth still. The 4-part multi-temporality just sounds so good. I really do want that. Push 3 spyware. But the first real DAW-less DAW Apple could have done with Logic, but they did with the Logic app. I don't love all Elektron. My A4 is sitting on a shelf, and I sold my cycles. My A4 is also sitting on the shelf, and my cycles is sitting at Patchworks. So yeah, push is the mush. Right now, the push screen is gorgeous. I mean, the hardware is amazing. It's the software. The software is the problem. The hardware is legit. The software is it just needs some help. That's all. Which is something they can fix. If it was a hardware problem, that would be a real issue for them. But it's just a software problem. They can totally fix it, and they're going to fix it. It'll be flawless for sure. It's just when. Do I want to have, $2,500 locked up in this machine for them to come out with an update, or do I want my money back and not have spent it? Essentially, that's what I would have done. Just not have spent money. Because money isn't free as much as I'd like it to be. Oh, I'm not going to forget this. Okay, I want to talk about something. So, as I mentioned before, the stream is sponsored by DistroKid. We're going to do our little DistroKid commercial like we always do. But I want to talk about it more in depth because we're doing something with my Discord, something that popped in my head recently. I have a bunch of free accounts on DistroKid from being sponsored by them. So I can use multiple artist names, right? I have 5 of them. So one of them I'm calling Modbang Records. In my Discord, we do these compilations. We've done 4 of them. And this last one, what I'm doing is I'm collecting all the artists' information and doing DistroKid splits and then releasing a compilation album. So none of the stream money or purchases from Apple Music or whatever of our compilation goes to me. If I have a track on there, I get my percentage from that purchase. But it goes out to all the artists that work together, and DistroKid takes care of that for me. So we can all release music together in my Discord when you participate in the compilations, and the next one will be coming up soonish. And possibly you'll get a couple of pennies from stream royalties, or from somebody buying the tracks on Apple Music. Maybe you'll make a couple bucks. But at the very least, your music will be on a compilation with a bunch of other awesome artists who are all using this gear. We're all using hardware. I think it's really cool. So I just want to show you that really quick. So hang on here. So here it is. This is Modbang Records. This is me going through the process of uploading 30 songs. So number of songs, 30. No, not previously released. Under Modbang Records. It'll show the artist's name and the name of your track and any other relevant information that we need. So it won't be like, I'm not taking your music or anything. It's just being released under Modbang Records. And you get all your royalties. None of it goes, like, I take nothing from you. So I think it's really great doing it this way. It's a really fun way to do this as a community. This is something other people can do. It doesn't, it's not just me. Anybody can do this. It's a great idea. This is what it looks like. And I don't have the release date in here yet. This is the minimum price you can give it on iTunes and Amazon. It's $5.99. You can't go below that. I was trying to make it free. But yeah, I guess we'll try and make some money for ourselves. We could make it more. We could make it 15 bucks. I don't know. I don't care. We just want people to buy it, hopefully. This compilation is a synthwave compilation, so I took electronica down tempo. I couldn't, and electro house, because I don't think there's anything else that really works in here as far as the choices go. Maybe hard techno, since it's like really got some distortion on it. I don't really know. Here you can put your album art in. And the name of the album right now is Get In and Drive. That's our synthwave album. And here we go. You get to put in a track. I upload the track. I have them all already mastered. We have a mastering engineer who we paid, all of us together, who I paid, and then you guys reimbursed me. And then we upload an audio file here. And some other, we can select, I wrote this song. And we put in your name, your middle name, your last name. And if you wrote it with some other people, we can add it here. And you can see all these cool, most of them are instrumentals. And you can name your own price. I'm going to leave them all at 99 cents, so you're not going to name your own price. But yeah, that's how it goes. And then I'm going to put, as far as like putting yourself in as an, like this has the author in it, but as far as putting the, putting yourself in so that you're registered, the only caveat here is that you do have to have a DistroKid account. And you can get a discount on DistroKid either via a link in my YouTube channel or in my Discord. There's the link. There's DistroKid like percentage off coupons all over the internet. Just go get one and get yourself DistroKid for cheap. DistroKid's already incredibly cheap, so I don't think like it's worth the couple bucks it costs to get it. It's not expensive. But once you have a DistroKid account, you can participate in these compilations with us in my Discord and possibly get music heard with another group of great musicians. So I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting to do this as a group, and I'm stoked to get this one fully released on DistroKid. I'm still waiting on about half the participants, so about 15 people still haven't given me their data so that I can enter it in here. If you don't give me your data, I can't put you into the DistroKid splits, which means that revenue doesn't get split evenly across all the people. So I do need your information, friends. Please give it to me so we can get this done. But I think that's really cool. Do I need an invite to the Discord? No, you do not. You just join the Discord. There's a link in all of my YouTube videos, right on the comments section. Sorry, I'm so excited about this Discord, DistroKid kind of label. Discord DistroKid label. Yeah, that's kind of what it is, I guess. But it's going to be really cool because we're going to keep doing it this way. So we'll have this Modbang Records, which is my company. I own Modbang is my music store that I own, where I make these risers that you can get, which I have more stock of right now. There's some new colors too, which I'll be adding later tonight into the store. So I make those. I also make these MIDI cables that are completely transparent and these cables that glow in the dark, these are slim cables, so you can fit more. Anyway, they're great. They're great, and I love them, and I've worked very hard on growing my little company. And now we have this record label on it that doesn't pay me, but pays other artists, and I love that, because I don't need your money. I just want to help people make music. That's what this channel is all about, making music. And this compilation is going to be all hardware, so I think that's really exciting for anybody involved. It's like, what do we do with this stuff? Well, come join the Discord, record it, get it mastered by our resident mastering engineer. He did a really great job on the whole thing. Everybody's been really pleased. Really cheap, incredibly cheap. He does it for so cheap. Probably should give him more money than we do. And get an album released. A legit album with a bunch of other great artists. I'm really hammering that one on you guys, aren't I? Yeah, come on, get some new MIDI cables. All right. Yeah, come join the next one. So how is everybody doing? I think like we're gonna cut this stream a lot shorter than we usually do. We usually go for 2 hours, but I spent all day making this new version of the template for my Patreon. It took several hours. I thought I was gonna be able to do 2 templates. I was gonna release the new techno template today. That's gonna be next week, I believe. That's gonna be dope. That's gonna be a much bigger deal to me, because it's gonna be something that I will use. I don't much care for the sample playback on the Octatrack. I don't need it. I don't need stereo samples. I like the idea of it, but I don't need it. I like to use my Digitact as my sampler. That's just my personal workflow. But I do have quite a bit of excitement about the next template release, the ultimate techno template. All the effects are going to be automated for 8 bars. The looper will not be 8 bars. The looper will be 4 bars, so you're going to want to, if you're working in 8 bars, you're going to want to capture the last 4 bars of the loop and then transition over during the last 4 bars for when you transition to another song or when you're doing some stuff. That's just something that you need to know. There's a lot of intricacies. Learning these templates that I make is like learning another instrument. It's like if you got like a DB4 mixer or something, it's learning that times 20, because there's 64 effects for you to learn and you can tweak them all. Oh, I do have some other news. This is so sick. Check this out. So if you're not familiar with this guy, this is the SHIK, right? I've talked about this on my channel. I like this guy who develops it because he makes affordable, nice looking devices. I like aesthetics. This is very aesthetic to me. But not only do I like this, I reached out to him and I said, hey, you know what this thing needs? It needs macro controls where I have min max and I can control multiple channels from one pot. You know what he did? He added that to the firmware and he messaged me today and I've recently updated it. And now I have macro controls. We have, what is this? How many faders are on here? A lot. 32 faders. I have 32 pots that can be a macro control to 2 different channels with min-max and also inversion. So I can go up this way and it will go negative on one channel and positive on another channel with min-max. That's more powerful than the Octatrack's crossfader. So this is going to be a part of the new techno template and of course the ultimate Octatrack effects template. I'm going to add full integration with this. This is going to be a part of the big update that's going to come out. It's going to give you access to reverbs, delay, filtering, high pass, low pass, and then there's going to be a bunch of new effects that are macro controls designed that only function if you have the SHIK. Not because I need you to buy the SHIK, but that's just because I'm doing it on the SHIK. Because it's more affordable than picking up a FaderFox EC4, which is the other alternative. But the FaderFox EC4 doesn't have these macro controls. It does have some really cool stuff, but it doesn't have macro controls. That's really unique. If you don't know what a macro control is, it means that one parameter can control multiple other parameters, in this case, 2 other parameters. So that's just so powerful and I can't believe it exists in this beautiful box. And I'm going to integrate it into the Octatrack performance template, and it's going to be super dope. And I might even make one for the push once the push gets its shit together. That day is not today. Not today, my friends. Not today. I wish it was. On other news, Modbang show. We're having another Modbang show at the 4Bs in Fremont, and it's going to be Mark Eats, Shield, DJ Weak Acid, and then I'm going to open the show, as I typically do, even though I think this might be the last time I open for a little bit. I think I'm going to try and get some other artists to open and take a break from playing some shows for a little bit so that I can just chill. But you should check that out. It's going to be June 27th at the 4Bs at 7 o'clock. Come see some live hardware electronic music. All of the musicians playing, myself included, I hope, are really great at live hardware electronic music. So it's a really great time. So please come on down. It's a free show. I mean, donations are accepted, and we love you for them, but it's totally free. And if you want to play these shows, get in my Discord, send me a message. If you're in Oregon or another state close by and you're willing to drive up here, I'd be happy to have you come and play the show. Just hit me up and I'll get you on the bill. Because I have a residency at this bar. And it actually has really great audio. It's got a big fat sub, nice speakers, very inclusive environment. It feels really good. It's just a good place. It's a fun spot to hang and make music. They love us there, so it's really cool. Oh my gosh. Okay, one last thing. Is anybody playing Diablo 4? I know I'm not the only one, right? Because I gotta say, Diablo 4 is very good. It's a very good game. I'm having quite a bit of fun playing it. That's probably what I'm gonna do for the rest of the evening. Even though I do kind of want to go through. You're playing it right now. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, dude. Yeah, level 50 barbarian. Get out of here. Unbelievable. Who has got time to get to level 50? I wish I did. I am a druid. I kind of regret being a druid. I don't know yet. I don't know. I kind of wish I had gone with either warrior or the sorcerer. I'm so far along in the game now, I don't want to go back and go through that again. Maybe there's some fast way to level me back up through the story. I don't know. But I'm definitely having fun with that. I even considered buying it again on my PlayStation just so that I could always have it running, because right now I'm playing it on my PC. And I want to play it all the time, but I also want to work all the time. Like I always want to work because I love what I do, but I also want to play Diablo. And I can't do them at the same time, so I thought about putting it on the console. I don't know. Another thing that's happening besides Diablo 4 is I do have a new MIDI controller coming here that's very expensive, and I feel really silly that I bought it. I pre-ordered it a long time ago, and it's finally showing up, but I feel a little silly about it. It's called the Elektra Mark II. It's really nice, beautiful controller. It's probably going to be really great, and I'll be showing you all that. Got some other cool stuff that's going to be happening I'm going to be talking about. We are going to we're going to be checking these out soon. We're going to pop on some Eurorack. It's not something I've been doing very much of, but we are going to check out these guys right here. This is a passive wave shaper. You ever heard of a passive wave shaper? Because I never have. No power, wave shaper. The way it works is I believe it uses an OR circuit. So I can't explain how that works in here in hardware, but the voltage from the CV coming in is enough to power the OR circuit to function. And I've got two of them here. I also have this. I don't know what this is. He sent this to me with this, so that was a gift. It looks like a temporary mute. These buttons feel really good. I like them. So this is cool. This company is called Hacksaw. Oh no, ELC Systems. This is called the Hacksaw. ELC Systems. I hope you're watching the stream. You're probably not. But if you are, shout out to you, because we're going to check these out. I think it's really cool. Passive wave shaper. I'm very curious how it sounds. I've not used any wave shaping that didn't have some sort of power source. I mean, from the bus board, that is. What else we got going on? I've already like gone through my whole agenda for the day, and I don't have the energy to make any music right now. Oh, you met ELC. Oh, that's great. He seems really nice. Yeah. I love music developers. Like they're, you know, sometimes they're quite eccentric people, especially the Eurorack developers, because they're coming from this like engineer brain and not always from a music brain. So it's like the conversations you have with them, you're like talking about, oh, you could do this really cool thing, this filter sweep, and you know, this control, this parameter could do this. But the conversation they end up having with you is like about the circuitry design and voltage and offsets and all this stuff. And it's just like, that's not the interesting part to the performer or a musician. The interesting part is usually the music. And to them, the interesting part is the hardware itself. And I do think that's really cool. And you learn a lot when you talk to these developers. A lot. If you hang out at Patchworks in Seattle long enough, you'll meet quite a few developers and have some really interesting conversations. Yeah, the Hacksaw is only $50. $50. How cool is that? Maybe I should sell them in the Modbang shop. I like stuff like this. This is the kind of stuff that I would sell in my store because it's so unique. A passive wave shaper that's only $50. Like, I'd sell these. They also come in kits, so that's cool. I would love to demo it for you, but we can't do that right now. Since it is passive, I wonder if I could plug the TB03 right into it. Even though the signal level, but the signal level maybe it won't be the same because it's passive. I don't know. Very strange. Yeah. He was telling me how much I could make a mixer. He was telling me how I could make a mixer and I was lost. Oh, yeah. Probably quite a brain. The track that I want to work on, if I'm being honest, this is what I want to work on, and this is what I plan to work on later. Is this. I love how this track sounds. So we'll play with it for a second. All right. I know I said I wasn't going to make music, but I love how this track sounds. Copy it. We're going to paste all this stuff into the next one. Okay. What is it? F4? F4 seems like a good spot here. Check this out. All right. This is kind of cool. We go. the kind of stuff you can do with the template. So, like, the engines on the Syntac was so weird. Is the decay in the engine, like there's an envelope in the engine, and then you have your amplitude envelope. I mean, I understand, like, you could do a lot of cool stuff with that, but it's just strange to me sometimes. Like, why wouldn't it start with this decay envelope set at infinite, and this set at a regular ASDR style? Like, it's not even set in ASDR by default when you open the synth engine. Just strange. Just strange stuff. I had to reset it because it was just droning there. Like an envelope. Going to the waveform. So let's go to our LFO and go waveform. Trigger. Trig 1. So we'll use it like an envelope. Use it like an envelope. Keep it like a secret. Alright. Trig 1. BPM 1. Exponential wave. Now it's super bright. Alright. Check us out. Record. Time stretch on. Thank you very much. Yeah. Transition's dope. Wait. Check out this transition. This pattern actually worked out. Like, I like it. Like, we got this. It's like my Michael Jackson. Why do I only hear it in my left speaker? Oh. Just the digatone being buggy. I hear reverb too. There we go. Banger! All right. I love you all very much. Thanks for hanging out with me on these streams every Sunday at 7 o'clock. Catch me here doing what I'm doing, playing with Elektron boxes particularly. Also trying to play with the Push 3, which I love, even though it's not ready. I still love it, even though it's not ready. And I love you, Ableton. I love what you're trying to do. We just need an update. And not to forget, SHIK, killing it with a macro MIDI controller. Really cool. We love them for this. This is going to be great. This integrated in with the new performance template for the Octatrack. Goldmine. It's going to be a good time. These things are cheap. I think you can buy them as a kit. You can buy them as a kit, which I think is really great. We love kits. Kits make it cheap. We love DistroKid for sponsoring these streams. I'm so spent from working on the new version of the template, and excited to see what y'all do with it and feedback on it. Feedback on the 8 new effects, or 10 new effects, I guess, that came with it. So very stoked. I'll have it up on the coffee page sometime this week if you want to pick it up and buy it from me. And it'll be on the Patreon tonight. It's already available on my Discord right now in the Patreon files channel. You can become a Patreon on Discord without joining Patreon if you just want to do Discord. That's also available. Check that out. And you can get the template that way too. Excited about the compilation, which is almost ready to go. Just finalizing some artwork and getting some data from the other artists that performed in the compilation. If you want to be a part of the EZBOT Discord compilations and get yourself on Modbang Records, just join the Discord and participate when the next one happens. Probably going to do it next month. As soon as we finish getting the data from these other artists, we'll start working on the next one. So I'm really excited about that. You guys are great. I appreciate you hanging out. I appreciate all of the kind words that you all say and how much you love hardware as much as I do. And I do want to say, a lot of folks ask me really, really complex questions about Elektron gear and the Octatrack and the stuff that I build, my custom stuff that I build on YouTube. I cannot answer those questions on YouTube. It's so frustrating to even try. I can respond with like, hey, thank you very much, or like, put it on MIDI channel 3 and that kind of stuff. But if you have really pressing, deep questions, go to the Discord. That's what it's for. That's for one-on-one conversations. We can go back and forth. It's much easier. You can even jump in a voice call. Stuff like that can happen on there. Plus, there's so many other members in there that know this stuff equally as well as I do, that you can ask that question to the chat room and get the answer that you need without waiting for me to respond to you on YouTube, because I'm probably not going to if it's going to take me forever to type it out on a YouTube comment. So I just wanted people to know that. I see your comments and I appreciate them. And, but that, it just takes too much time and I don't want to type it on my phone. So, but otherwise, I just wanted to address that in case anybody was wondering why I haven't responded to you. That's why. But yeah, thank you so much. I will see you all next Sunday at 7 o'clock, where we will do a track from scratch. I'm thinking of we did minimal techno last week. I have been making a lot of industrial music, and I think I don't want to keep making industrial music on stream. I can do that by myself. I like challenging myself on the stream. I was thinking about making like a lo-fi beat, which is not something I usually do. In fact, I've never done it, I think. I have to say, I probably have never really made a lo-fi beat. So I might try that next week. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I even want to do it, so we'll find out. But anyway, thank you very much. If you'd like to support me, join patreon.com/EZBOT. You want to get my templates, you can join the Patreon, the Discord subscription, or you can buy them on coffee.com/EZBOT. You could also just say really nice things in the comments. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate your work. That music sounded okay to my ears. And I will appreciate that as well. Otherwise, I'll see you next Sunday at 7. Bye-bye.